Welcome to episode 2 here at the Booney Homestead. Today we're putting in the foundation and the floor of the 16 by 20 shed. Like I stated in episode 1, down below you'll see a download link where you can actually download these plans that I've created on AutoCAD. What I'm encouraging everybody to do is download these plans, look at them, and if you see something that I could have done better, another measurement that would have been more helpful, let me know and I'll edit them. So in essence, we're all going to be building the perfect shed plans together. Alright, episode 2 was filmed in early December out here in Sequim, Washington. That's why I'm dressed in short sleeves today. And in the video I'm in sleeves, hoodies, and you're probably going to see rain and everything else that the Pacific Northwest is famous for. So I hope you enjoy. Here's the video.
First thing we need to do is determine the location for this shed. To do this, we need a big picture plan of what our homestead is going to look like. Our 2018 goals are to build this shed, a chicken coop, compost bins, a back to Eden garden, and honeybees. With that in mind, we want this building to be in a central location, as it will be used as a form for storage for all of these projects when finished. Now that we've determined a location for the shed, with much debate from the missus might I add, it's time to get this party started. First thing we have to do is construct our batter boards. Batter boards are temporary frames set beyond the corners of a planned foundation at precise elevations. We use these to hold layout lines. We build these using 2x4 studs. I got these at the big box store. These are 2x4 by 96. I'm going to cut these 2x4s in 3-foot sections. I'm going to need 8 of these. These cuts don't have to be terribly precise, so I'm cutting 2 of these at a time to try to speed up the process. Now the construction of the actual batter boards themselves. I lay these at a 90-degree angle, and then I pre-drill some 2-inch wood deck screws. I'm using screws here so I can use these boards again for another project. I pre-drill the screws to make things a little easier. I line the 2 sides of the batter board up. Using my cordless drill and the bit provided with the deck screws, I drive these screws in, finishing my batter board. Check them with the speed square to make sure they're all squared up, and go on to the next one. I'm marking the ground where I want the corner of my shed to be and pound a stake into the ground. I set the first batter board on the ground about 8 to 12 inches on the outside edge of the stake using the good old-fashioned kick it in place method. We don't need to be precise here, we just need to get it close. I then drive a stake into the ground at the 90-degree section of the batter board. Next, I pound another stake on each end of the batter board. The reason that I started in this specific location is because the section of land is not flat. The terrain varies about 9 inches in each corner of the shed. Instead of renting an excavator and digging out the shed location to make it level, I'm going to install 4x4 posts and level my 2x6 floor runners on those posts. When the 2x6 runners are all installed, I'll trim back the 4x4s plumb with the 2x6 runners. Now I'm going to set the batter boards in place. I raise the 90-degree section of the batter boards to the center stake. I choose a height that will ensure all other batter boards will be off the ground based on the elevations of the land. Using a 2-inch deck screw, I fix the batter board to the stake located at the 90. Next, I raise both ends of the batter board and secure them to the remaining stakes when level with the center section. The entire purpose of using a batter board is to be able to make fine adjustments with your layout lines left and right on each batter board to square up the foundation. In order to set the second batter board, I need to ensure that I can make these adjustments. To do this, I go to my shed design. The distance between each corner post end to end is 19 foot 9 inches. The batter boards have to be adjustable in that range. I measure from the stake that represents the corner of my shed as per my design, and I set down my batter board. Once I have a location, I tie a line to the first batter board, and using a line level, I secure the second batter board to the same height of the first one. I do the same thing for all corners of the shed and the middle runner. For the middle runner of the shed, I only use one 2x4. Once I have all the batter boards in place, I run a line between each one. Here you can see the final view of all the batter borders in place with all the strings lined up. Now the tedious part of the project, squaring up our layout lines. Using my drawing as reference, we know each corner should be 25 foot 3 1/8 from each other as measured from opposite 20-foot sections. We're going to manipulate the corners of our layout lines necessary to achieve this measurement. When you have these dimensions, and it'll take some time, you'll have a perfectly squared up foundation. Now there's another way of doing it if you don't want to use anybody's help in a 300-foot tape measure, and that's using the 3-4-5 method. To use the 3-4-5 method, you measure from each corner 3 foot in one direction, 4 foot in the other direction. Mark your layout lines with a Sharpie. Measure from your 2 marks, and you should have 5 feet. You can adjust your layout lines as necessary to achieve this measurement, and once you do, you have a perfectly squared corner. Once you have all the measurements in accordance with your drawing, staple each string to the batter board to prevent it from moving. I also take additional measures and mark the batter board with a Sharpie to be able to restring a layout line if I should accidentally cut one of these layout lines while digging. Trust me, this is probably going to happen. Now it's time to set the first corner post. In an urban environment, you really need to get a locate done for underground wires and pipes. In my neck of the woods, we call 811 to schedule a locate. Since my property is in a section of an old dairy farm, I didn't bother with the locate. I probably should have, I just wanted to get started and didn't want to wait. Now it is time to start digging. I don't want to bore you with 2 hours of watching me dig. So in summary, the posts are going to be secured with concrete 2 feet into the ground. To make things easier, and so I'm not having to stop digging every couple of minutes, I marked 24 inches on the post hole digger with a Sharpie. I now have a visual reference while digging, so I know when to stop. Also, to save money, I bought 12-foot sections of 4x4s. The price of lumber fluctuates as often as a gallon of gas, so at this time it was my cheapest option. Do the research first if you are going to build a shed. Based on that, I'm going to need 4 of these, and I'm going to cut these into 3-foot sections. Since I'm so far from my house, I need to run a generator to power the compound miter saw. Doing this, I found out also I needed a new blade, as you can see smoke coming from my saw. Rookie mistake. Well, that's it for now. In the next episode, we're going to actually be installing the floor runners. We're going to let this concrete dry, and we're going to go ahead and nail the floor runners on. And the shed foundation and floor will finally start taking shape. This was the longest part of the actual shed build as far as time and energy to do, just making sure I got it right. And you're going to see in the following videos that I didn't get it right, and hopefully you can watch me do it, learn from what I did wrong, and not make the same mistakes. So please subscribe below and download your copy of your plans and follow along with me. I'll see you next week during the next video.